The alley reeked of decay as rain pelted the uneven cobblestones, echoing in hollow buildings. Lily wiped her tear-streaked face, clutching her worn satchel. The distant siren pierced the night, sharp and merciless. Her stomach twisted with hunger, but she forced herself onward. "I can't stop now," Lily whispered, her voice trembling yet defiant. Shadows danced around the corners, hiding judgmental eyes and threats alike. Every step she took reminded her that the world had not been kind. She remembered her mother's words, faint yet persistent. "You are stronger than they believe." Each puddle reflected not just rain but her reflection, broken yet enduring. The alley seemed endless, a mirror to her life, dark, cold, yet demanding courage. A sudden crash of a falling shutter startled her, but Lily steadied herself, eyes scanning for any flicker of hope. She clenched her fists, feeling the weight of survival pressing against her ribs, daring her to falter. Lily stepped into the bustling market square, the smell of wet earth mixing with stale bread. Street vendors shouted, waving rotten produce. "Ah!" Her stomach twisted, but she forced a smile at a small child offering a crooked smile. Hunger gnawed, yet she held her satchel close, scanning for coins on the damp ground. Voices of the privileged echoed above, laughing over goods she could never afford. Every glance felt like judgment. She tightened her coat against the drizzle and whispered, "One day, this won't define me." Her eyes caught a glimmer of kindness in an elderly woman's gaze, fleeting yet grounding. The city moved with a cruel rhythm, indifferent to her struggle, yet Lily kept moving. She passed puddles and worn cobblestones, each step a testament to perseverance. Despite the cold and damp, determination burned in her chest, a fragile yet unyielding flame. The day stretched endlessly, but Lily's resolve hardened with every passing shadow of the crowd. A sudden shout drew Lily's attention to a street fight between laborers and guards. "Oh!" Her heart raced as she ducked behind a cart, mud splashing on her boots. "Not again," she muttered, gripping her satchel. Eyes darting, she spotted a small alley leading to safety. Her pulse pounded as fear mixed with relief. She knew this city was relentless, yet even in the chaos, she noticed a young boy sharing bread with an elderly man, laughter echoing briefly. A fleeting reminder that kindness survived, however hidden. Lily's steps quickened, careful not to draw attention. Each decision felt critical, each movement weighted with consequence. She brushed past a merchant, apologizing quietly, keeping her focus forward. The world pressed against her from every side, yet she moved with purpose. Her mind raced through survival strategies, recalling her mother's lessons. With a deep breath, she exited the dangerous square, dripping and tense, yet alive. She ducked into a narrow alley, the chaos fading behind her. Faint sunlight reflected off damp walls, giving the passage a golden glow. Her legs shook, but she forced herself forward. Each step was measured, careful not to slip on wet moss. Lily's mind replayed the city's harsh lessons, and yet in the silence, she felt the pulse of life continuing around her. A stray cat darted across the path, reminding her that survival required alertness and courage. She whispered softly, "I will find my way." Small victories, like avoiding guards and slipping past danger, felt monumental. Her satchel bounced lightly with each step, a constant reminder of her vulnerability. Yet something inside her refused to succumb. The damp alley seemed safer, yet the world outside awaited. Every sound echoed, every shadow hinted at possibility or threat. Lily took a deep breath. The scent of rain mixed with earth grounding her. At the alley's exit, she glimpsed a small park, a rare patch of greenery in the grim city. Rain had left the grass glistening, droplets perched on leaves. Children played despite mud and cold, laughter piercing the gray. Lily paused, watching quietly, a faint smile breaking her tension. A boy tossed a stick to a dog, both spinning joyfully. She felt a pang of longing, but also a spark of hope. "Life persists," she whispered. Her journey was far from over, yet the park offered a momentary sanctuary, a reminder of what she could fight for. She brushed wet hair from her face and stepped forward, determined, each footfall resonating with purpose. The city still loomed, relentless and merciless, but Lily moved through it with resolve, carrying dreams heavier than her satchel. Her gaze lingered on the sun breaking through clouds, promising that a brighter day might exist beyond survival. Lily entered the abandoned factory at the edge of the city, the air thick with dust and decay. Broken machinery loomed like sleeping giants, their metal skeletons creaking under the weight of neglect. Shafts of sunlight pierced shattered windows, casting jagged patterns across the concrete floor. She moved cautiously, every step echoing against cold walls, as if the building itself were testing her resolve. Her satchel brushed her side, a reminder of the fragile security she carried. The scent of rust mixed with mildew, making her stomach churn, yet her eyes remained vigilant. She paused to listen, heart racing at each distant drip of water or scuttling rodent. Somewhere deep inside, a spark of curiosity flickered alongside fear. Memories of the city's relentless challenges pressed against her mind, yet she pressed onward. Each shadow seemed alive, threatening to swallow her if she faltered. A sudden gust swept through, rattling loose panels and sending her hair across her face. She wiped it aside and whispered, "I will not be broken here." Determination hardened her chest as she pressed further into the cavernous space, seeking answers or opportunity in equal measure. In a dim corner, she discovered a pile of old crates stacked haphazardly. Dust rose as she nudged one aside, revealing a hidden doorway behind. Her pulse quickened. It felt like a secret waiting for discovery. Beyond the doorway, a narrow spiral staircase descended into darkness. Lily's fingers trembled as she gripped the railing, cold metal biting her skin. The scent of damp stone and mold enveloped her as she stepped down carefully. Each footfall echoed, a reminder of the isolation and danger lurking in the shadows. She paused, imagining what might await: treasure, danger, or simply emptiness. Courage fought with fear in her chest, but she swallowed it, moving forward with measured steps. Her breath became shallow as she descended deeper, the light fading above into distant slivers. She whispered, "I must see this through," feeling the weight of uncertainty pressing against her chest. With each turn of the staircase, determination and trepidation danced in tandem. The deeper she went, the more the world above seemed a distant memory, replaced by cold stone and the unknown. At the bottom of the staircase, Lily entered a cavernous underground hall. Flickering lanterns illuminated graffiti-covered walls, casting long shadows across damp stone floors. Crates and broken furniture littered the area, remnants of past occupations. She paused, taking in the quiet hum of the air, punctuated by distant dripping water. Somewhere in the darkness, rats scurried, their tiny claws clicking against the floor. Lily felt exposed yet undeterred, knowing the space might hold answers to her quest. She ran her fingers across a dusty table, knocking over a small tin that clattered loudly, echoing through the hall. The sound made her heart leap, but also sparked a sense of control. She was here, navigating the unknown. A faint smell of oil and decay hung in the air, mixing with the damp stone scent. Shadows shifted in the lantern light, and Lily moved carefully among crates, scanning for signs of life or clues. Each cautious step felt like both a victory and a risk, her mind racing with possibilities. In this hidden world beneath the city, she sensed an opportunity to reclaim a piece of power that had always eluded her. She noticed a faint glow emanating from a room at the far end of the hall. Lily's heart raced as she approached, each step careful, her boots squeaking softly against wet stone. Piles of old papers littered the floor, some stained with age. A single lantern on a table cast golden light across a small, intricate device humming faintly. Her curiosity flared, and she stepped closer, eyes scanning for detail. Fingers hovered over the device, hesitant yet compelled. The room felt alive in a strange way, energy thrumming softly beneath her skin. Shadows shifted across the walls, revealing the passage of time etched into every surface. She held her breath, sensing the significance of the discovery. Her satchel weighed heavily against her, but her focus remained on the device, and the possibilities it represented. Faint hum became a pulse, syncing with her own heartbeat. This could change everything, she whispered, a flicker of hope and fear mingling in her chest. Lily carefully activated the device, and a faint blue light spread across the room, illuminating hidden writings on the walls. Her eyes widened as symbols glowed faintly, a secret language of knowledge long forgotten. The hum grew louder, vibrating gently beneath her feet. She traced a pattern with her finger, feeling an unexpected connection. "It's like it's speaking to me," she whispered, awe softening her tension. Each revelation made her heart pound, the potential of discovery mingling with fear of failure. Dust motes swirled in the blue glow, casting ephemeral shapes across her face. Shadows danced on the walls, reflecting both the promise and danger of this newfound power. Lily steadied her breath, absorbing every detail, determined to understand what lay before her. Her journey, once focused solely on survival, now carried purpose and urgency. The underground hall, silent moments ago, seemed alive with latent knowledge. She clenched her satchel, grounding herself, and whispered, "I will learn its secrets, no matter the cost." Lily emerged from the underground hall into the city streets, night blanketing the skyline with a velvet darkness. Streetlights flickered, reflecting in puddles from a recent rain, giving the city an eerie glow. She moved cautiously, aware of every shadow stretching across wet asphalt. The hum of distant traffic and faint sirens created a symphony of urban tension. Her satchel felt heavier with the weight of the device, knowledge and responsibility she carried. Each alley seemed to pulse with potential danger, forcing her to navigate carefully, blending with darkness. Thoughts raced through her mind, visions of past failures colliding with the hope of triumph. Rain dripped from rooftops, cooling her skin and soaking her coat. She paused, glancing at the city's towering structures, realizing how small she felt, yet how immense her purpose had become. Determination surged. She would not falter now. The night was long, and the journey ahead promised both revelation and peril, but she felt ready to face whatever waited. She ducked into a narrow alley, the walls pressing in on either side. Crumbling bricks and graffiti marked decades of neglect, and a faint smell of smoke lingered in the air. Lily's steps were quiet but deliberate, her breath controlled, every sense alert. Shadows moved subtly in corners, shifting with the light from distant lamps. Her fingers brushed the satchel, as if grounding herself in its weight. The device inside hummed faintly, a soft reminder of the secrets it contained. She paused, listening to the subtle creak of a loose metal shutter above. Time seemed to slow, every sound amplified in the narrow space. The city felt alive, aware of her presence, testing her courage. She took a deep breath, straightened her shoulders, and pressed onward. Each step forward felt like a negotiation between fear and determination. She reminded herself that discovery required risk, and hesitation could cost everything. The alley stretched into darkness, the path ahead uncertain, yet compelling. At the alley's end, she reached a hidden courtyard bathed in pale moonlight. The walls of surrounding buildings created a secluded cage of silence. Ivy clung to the bricks, rustling gently in a night breeze. A faint hum from the device pulsed in her satchel, syncing with the rhythm of her heart. Lily knelt beside a worn fountain, noticing inscriptions on its stone base. Each mark seemed to echo with knowledge she had yet to comprehend. Her fingers traced the carvings, feeling a connection to forgotten wisdom. The courtyard held an aura of quiet power, as if guarding secrets meant only for the brave. Shadows shifted across the ground, revealing glimpses of movement. She felt both exposed and protected in the space, understanding instinctively that this place was pivotal. The moonlight reflected off puddles near the fountain, casting ephemeral patterns on her coat. She straightened, a renewed sense of purpose igniting within her, ready to embrace the revelation that awaited. Suddenly, a shadow detached itself from the corner, a figure moving with silent intent. Lily's heart leapt as she straightened, eyes locking on the intruder. The figure's movements were deliberate, measured, and the street light caught the glint of a metallic object in their hand. Instinctively she stepped back, satchel tight against her chest, device humming louder in response. Her mind raced, calculating possibilities, every muscle tensed for action. "Who's there?" she demanded, voice steady despite racing pulse. The figure paused, and a low chuckle echoed through the courtyard. Moonlight revealed a young man around 20, with dark hair and intense eyes, dressed in a fitted jacket and worn boots. He raised his hand slightly, showing no immediate threat, yet his presence radiated controlled danger. Lily's mind weighed options: fight, flee, or attempt dialogue. Her grip on the device tightened. This encounter could define everything. The young man stepped closer, and Lily's muscles tensed further. His eyes softened as he spoke, revealing knowledge of the device she carried. A surge of relief mixed with caution as she realized they were not enemies, yet trust was fragile. The courtyard seemed to breathe around them, every shadow and reflection heightening awareness. He extended a hand, a gesture of alliance rather than threat. Lily studied him, evaluating the sincerity, aware that one wrong move could shatter the fragile balance. The device hummed in her satchel, signaling the beginning of a new chapter. Moonlight shimmered off wet surfaces, casting ethereal light across both figures. Their breaths mingled with the cool night air, a silent acknowledgement of shared purpose. Lily's heart steadied, resolve hardening as she nodded slightly. The night no longer felt threatening but charged with possibility. Together they faced the path ahead, uncertain but united, ready to unravel the mysteries waiting in the shadows. Lily and the young man approached the abandoned warehouse, shadows stretching across the cracked concrete. The hum from the device grew louder, resonating with the building's emptiness. Their steps echoed, signaling both tension and urgency. Moonlight glinted off broken windows, and debris swirled in the cold night air. Every instinct screamed caution, yet determination propelled them forward. The secrets inside could reshape everything they knew. Inside, the warehouse smelled of rust and dust. Shafts of moonlight pierced gaps in the walls, illuminating crates stacked haphazardly. Lily's fingers grazed the device, sensing its growing energy. Shadows flickered as distant machinery hummed. Each sound heightened their alertness. The young man scanned the perimeter, his expression hardening. They exchanged a silent nod, preparing for what lurked ahead. Every heartbeat amplified the tension in the cavernous space. A sudden noise echoed, a metallic clang from above. Lily and the young man froze, eyes following a shadow sliding across the rafters. The device pulsed violently in her satchel, illuminating her face in eerie bursts. Fear threatened to paralyze, yet they pressed on. Each step forward felt like crossing a threshold into danger. The warehouse seemed alive, every shadow a potential threat. They moved deliberately, relying on instinct and trust in each other. Their goal felt just within reach. They reached the center of the warehouse. Crates formed a makeshift barrier around the device's final location. The hum intensified, vibrating through the floor. Lily's hands shook slightly as she approached. The young man positioned himself near the exit, protective and alert. They exchanged a brief glance, trust unspoken but absolute. The air was thick with anticipation, the night holding its breath. One wrong move could shatter everything they had fought to protect. Lily reached the device and activated it. Energy surged, filling the warehouse with blinding light. Shadows twisted and writhed as walls vibrated. The young man shielded his eyes, bracing against the force. A moment later, the light stabilized, revealing a map of the city glowing faintly. They both stared in awe, knowledge, power, and danger intertwined in one moment. The path forward was clear, yet perilous. Their journey was far from over, but hope shone brighter than the surrounding darkness. Lily and the young man stepped out of the warehouse as the first hints of dawn broke across the skyline. The city, quiet and unaware of the power they now held, shimmered in soft pastel hues. Every shadow seemed to retreat under the rising sun, yet remnants of danger lingered in the alleys. Their breaths came in unison, a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. The device hummed quietly, now tamed, as if acknowledging their control. Together, They felt the weight of responsibility settle on their shoulders, understanding that the world they knew had irreversibly changed. They walked toward the outskirts of the city, moving through silent streets, littered with remnants of the night's chaos. Lily glanced back at the warehouse, its shadows now pale under morning light. Every step carried relief mixed with lingering tension. The young man adjusted the satchel strap, ensuring the device remained secure. Conversation was minimal, their connection had transcended words. The city felt different, alive yet fragile, and they understood that what lay ahead demanded courage, wisdom, and trust in one another. The world had changed, and so had they. They arrived at a quiet park where sunlight filtered through early morning trees, casting golden patterns on the ground. The young man knelt briefly, checking the device's readings while Lily observed the soft sway of leaves. For a moment, the world felt peaceful. Birds chirped tentatively, as if acknowledging their triumph. Yet both knew calm was fleeting, responsibility weighed heavily on them. Their partnership, forged in tension and danger, had become unbreakable. Hope glimmered, delicate but persistent, reminding them that they could face what lay ahead together. A distant hum signaled that the device's energy had stabilized, resonating in harmony with the city around them. Lily exhaled slowly, the tension leaving her shoulders in small increments. The young man glanced at her, offering a tentative smile, and she returned it with relief and quiet pride. They shared a brief laugh, fragile but genuine, acknowledging their ordeal. The path ahead was uncertain, yet the bond they forged through shared peril gave them courage. Together they could face any challenge, any threat, and any secret waiting to emerge in the shadows of the city. They looked out over the city from the park's small hill, the sunrise painting the horizon in vivid golds and pinks. The world seemed infinite, brimming with possibilities and dangers alike. Lily tightened her coat, feeling a quiet strength within her, mirrored in the young man's steady stance. Their journey had tested them beyond imagination, yet every scar and fear had forged resilience and trust. The city lay sprawling below, alive and uncertain, waiting for their choices. They were ready, together, vigilant, and unyielding. Dawn marked not just a new day, but a new beginning for them both. The city had awakened fully now, bustling with life as morning unfolded into midday. Lily and the young man moved through the crowded streets, feeling both invisible and pivotal in the tide of humanity around them. Every passerby seemed to carry fragments of stories they would never know. The device in the young man's satchel remained silent, its energy dormant but vigilant. They exchanged glances, understanding the fragility of peace, and yet a sense of calm lingered. Their steps were measured, cautious, yet confident, as if the city itself acknowledged their hard-won triumph and fragile guardianship. They reached a quiet rooftop overlooking the bustling streets below, the noise muted by height and distance. Lily leaned on the ledge, feeling the wind tousle her hair as sunlight warmed her shoulders. The young man activated the device briefly, confirming its stability, then deactivated it with a satisfied nod. The city sprawled endlessly, vibrant and unpredictable, but in that moment, they felt a rare clarity. Every choice they had made now seemed part of an intricate pattern they barely understood. Together, they could confront challenges, embrace uncertainty, and protect the fragile balance between chaos and order. The sun dipped toward the horizon, painting the city in shades of amber and rose. Lily and the young man descended the rooftop stairs, each step echoing with a quiet sense of finality. The device hummed faintly, a gentle reminder of their responsibilities. Around them, life surged, children playing, street vendors calling, traffic humming, but they moved in a bubble of focus and trust. Every decision they had made, every peril they had faced, had led to this moment, a fragile equilibrium where they could finally breathe, reflect, and plan for the future. Hope, tempered by experience, shone quietly in their eyes. Night approached slowly, bringing cool air and the first streetlights flickering on. Lily and the young man stopped in a quiet plaza, their eyes tracing the lights reflecting on wet cobblestones. The city seemed alive with stories of its own, independent yet subtly intertwined with their journey. They spoke softly, sharing reflections and laughter that had been rare throughout their ordeal. For the first time in weeks, they felt a sense of completion. The weight of the device of the dangers they faced had eased. Together they stood in silent acknowledgement of the challenges overcome and the fragile peace now surrounding them. The stars emerged above the city, distant pinpricks of light against the velvet night. Lily and the young man stood on a bridge, gazing at the river flowing silently below, its surface mirroring the sky. The device remained tucked safely in the satchel, silent and contained. They realized that their journey was not an end, but a beginning, an opportunity to shape the world quietly, carefully, with vigilance. A final breeze ruffled Lily's hair, and the young man's steady presence reassured her. In that serene moment, they felt unshakable, connected, and ready to face whatever future awaited beyond the lights of the city. The first light of dawn painted the city in delicate pastels, a soft promise of renewal. Lily and the young man walked along the riverbank, the water reflecting the golden hues of sunrise. Birds chirped, and distant church bells tolled, marking the rhythm of life continuing unabated. Their conversations were gentle, contemplative, revisiting choices and victories, failures and lessons, with the clarity only time and distance could provide. They carried a quiet strength now, born of shared adversity. Around them, the city awoke slowly, oblivious to the trials endured by these two figures, yet somehow touched by the hope they carried silently in their presence. They found themselves at a small cafe on a quiet street, the aroma of freshly baked bread mingling with the crisp morning air. Lily laughed softly at the young man's clumsy attempt to order in a new language, the moment light yet intimate. They shared warmth over steaming cups, the city moving around them like a living painting. Each sip of coffee grounded them, a reminder that life's simplest joys were worth savoring. They spoke of their dreams now, not as distant wishes but as achievable goals shaped by the resilience they had cultivated. Every smile, every glance was a testament to the bond forged through trials that now seemed both distant and formative. By late afternoon, they wandered to a hill, overlooking the entire city, the skyline glowing under a golden sunset. Lily traced patterns in the dirt with her fingers, while the young man scanned the horizon with a quiet intensity, contemplating the paths ahead. They discussed possibilities, projects, travels, small contributions to a world that had once seemed overwhelming and hostile. Their conversation was punctuated by laughter, thoughtful silence, and the occasional sigh of relief. The city below thrummed with life, yet on this hill, they felt a rare sense of ownership over their own narrative, empowered to shape tomorrow with deliberate care and shared vision. As twilight deepened, they reached a bridge where lanterns had been strung for a local festival, each light reflecting in the river like floating stars. Children laughed nearby, couples walked hand in hand, and the scent of food stalls filled the cool air. Lily and the young man paused, sharing a quiet smile, realizing that the world had continued without pause, and yet they had left their mark, invisible to most, yet profound in its subtlety. They discussed future plans with ease, no longer driven by fear or urgency, but by curiosity, compassion, and a newfound confidence in their own abilities. Night settled fully, stars glittering above as the city lights shimmered below. Lily and the young man stood at the riverside, the hum of life around them blending into a comforting rhythm. The device, now safely stored, seemed almost symbolic of their journey, silent, powerful, and contained. They made no grand declarations, only a shared understanding that the future was theirs to shape, moment by moment. Together, they watched reflections of stars and city lights ripple across the water, embracing serenity, gratitude, and quiet anticipation. In that stillness, they realized that every ending was also a beginning, a chance to write the next chapter in a world full of possibility.